Survivors, seekers, and thrivers, welcome to Transcending Trauma, a spiritual odyssey. I'm Shari Lee Roberts, living proof that transformation is real. Get ready for powerful insights, inspiring stories, and a little laughter along the way.
Welcome, listeners. I have an interesting guest today who happens to be the first guest that I have interviewed who's in the same country that I am in. And we are in the beautiful Italia. And today I am honored to have Cristiano Colla from Palma.
That's right.
Yeah, awesome. He is a poet, author, spiritualist, and just on a mission to live his highest purpose and to help others do the same. With that said, welcome, thank you, and oh, go.
I was gonna thank you for the introduction, and yeah, it's my pleasure to be here and talking to you.
Well, the pleasure is mine and my listeners. And Cristiano, it has agreed to go off the typical Freudian conversation direction. So today we are going to start with a rapid fire question segment and then delve deeper into his answers. Thank you for playing along. I can't think of a better guest to do this with. Are you ready?
I am. Yes, let's do it.
Okay. Number one. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being optimal, how do you rate your childhood?
A 4.
A 4. Awesome. Okay, let's talk about ayahuasca.
Yes.
What drove you to the Peruvian jungle
Yeah.
to take it. And what was the biggest lesson that you learned that day?
Okay, so what drove me to Peru was a feeling of brokenness I had. I felt that something was wrong with me deeply, and I didn't know why. So I was doing some therapy, just general, going to the psychologist, talking about stuff, talking about my childhood, um, and that was a good initiation, let's call it, to healing. But it couldn't do it for me because just talking about things, for me, it doesn't allow me to process it.
Yeah.
So I tried hypnotherapy as well.
Oh,
And that worked really well for the first couple of months. But then even that, I fell back in the same um, sabotaging loops, and the same, toxic behavior sometimes towards myself and towards other people's. So I was coming out of a romantic relationship, and that was really triggering for me, being in it and being outside of it. And that was a relationship that helped me grow a lot as a human, as a man as well. So I was reading a book about childhood traumas and the toxicity in the culture nowadays, um, and the experience of the author, who went in the jungle himself to work with ayahuasca, really inspired me. So I've decided to get in touch with the temple and go through the application process, and I got accepted, and um, that's how I got to the decision to go to the jungle in the first place, to really get to the root of my traumas, and not trying to understand them logically, but to feel them somatically. Um, so those were my part of my intentions of going to Peru.
what? And that trivia did you learn? What was your biggest aha moment?
Yes. So switching from the mindset of victimhood to a mindset of empowerment, for me, it was the biggest factor, the biggest takeaway. Um, and that's because I used to think about the past a lot, and think about what people have done to me, and feeling like a victim. So I would, in a way, give my power away to those people, to those situations, and I would keep repeating those situations in my head relentlessly. Um, so ayahuasca helped me to feel my traumas, and to go through the pain, not to escape from it like I used to do as well.
Yeah.
Um, and she, I use it, I'll call it as a she because ayahuasca has a feminine energy, so I'll call her a she.
Okay.
So she helped me break free from that mindset, and taking responsibility for my healing, for my life. So that was the biggest takeaway.
Nice. Um, what is a part of your shadow work that came after the ayahuasca experience made the most profound difference for you?
Yes. So I started. Are you asking specifically after the ayahuasca experience, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so the fear of I used to be scared of public speaking, so anything that would signify being in front of a camera pretty much and speaking about myself, my story, or just sharing things.
Yeah.
And because it would cause my voice to tremble, and I would feel lack of confidence, and I would judge myself and doubt myself. um, so ayahuasca helped me to open up my heart and my throat chakra, and to find my own um, authentic expression.
Wow.
So it removed the judgment. It removed the self-blame, the guilt,
Yeah.
and the fear of speaking. Um, and now I'm speaking from a genuine place of sharing with love and with authenticity, and not because I am seeking validation, not because I am
Mhm.
any more afraid of what people might think of me, because I understand that people can relate to what I'm saying, as I can relate to what other people are saying, within a vulnerable context. So, yes.
Well, I can and do relate to that definitely. Um, what is one of the most recent mundane things that have happened to you, but has yielded the most profound enlightening?
That's a great question. Um, One of the mundane things you said, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. I have to think about that one. I would say probably having normal conversation with my dad, because he's going through a phase of his life which is not really great. So we've had lots of ups and downs, and I've been away from home for the last 7 years pretty much. So coming back home in Italy now, and staying close to him through this phase, um, and just talking about normal things. For example, what do you want me to buy to the grocery shop today? Or like, how's your back feeling? Did you sleep well? Just like simple questions like that. Um, it brings a certain level of intimacy and vulnerability into our relationship.
Wow.
Um, Even if we don't speak about our feelings that much, I know that by sharing these little things, I am making a difference in his life, and he's making a difference in my life. And that's one of the simplest and most mundane things that I think two people can do. Just asking each other, what do you want to eat, or how did you
Yeah.
sleep? So, and it's those are things that I used to struggle a lot before, because I used to feel restricted by this type of conversation. But now I can see them as a way to connect deeper to another human being.
Beautiful. Heartbreak over rebirth, which has been a better teacher
Heartbreak or rebirth?
Mhm.
Ah, um, is it okay if I say both?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes. So I'll give you
yeah,
I'll give you
yeah.
my why as well.
Thought of that too. Yeah, when I thought the question, I answered it the same way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good to know. I would say heartbreak because it creates space um in your I mean it created space in my heart to feel the emotions and not to run away from them because it's so hard to run away from your emotion once you break up with
yeah,
somebody.
yeah,
Um, so, but at the same time, it allows you to see the other person, with a different perspective, more truthful. Sometimes it's hard to see a person um, for the way they really are when you are with them like 24/7. At least for me, it was really hard because, sometimes we tend to project things.
yeah,
So it's a fine line, but once you step away, then it becomes in a way easier. Um, so I would say heartbreak, um, because it allows you to process and to really get to know yourself and to spend time alone, after being so close with somebody for such a long time. And that leads to rebirth because um, spending time alone, spending time in silence, for example,
yeah.
um, in isolation sometimes even,
Uh,
um, it allows you to get to know yourself, not superficially, but in a deeper way to know what are your gifts, what are your passions, what do you want to dedicate your time and your energy, and it's almost like seeing your purpose emerging. Um, so that's to summarize
uh,
the rebirth and the heartbreak.
beautiful. What is the one word you'd give someone ready to transform their life?
Paradox,
Wow. Why?
because we are a paradox as human beings, and for me, understanding that, and sometimes I used to be really black and white in the way I would see life and the way I would act. Um, my thoughts, my behaviors, it's either this or that.
Yeah.
I couldn't see something in between. But now I'm understanding that, our existence, sometimes even our personalities, they are a paradox because, we like white as a color, but we also like black.
Yeah.
Like we are capable of doing bad, we are capable of loving and doing good to people and to ourselves. We are capable of creating the life we want and destroying the life we hate, and vice versa. So we are capable of all the opposing forces, um, that are part of the universe. They are part of our inner God, if you like to call it that way.
Yeah.
Our wisdom, our intuition. So that's why.
Beautifully said. Now, let's delve deeper into some of your answers. The first one is you rated your childhood a 4 out of 5. Yeah, you then talked about trauma and police. If you will share the trauma, your childhood, it sounds like with me too. Your dad was an integral part of the upbringing and trauma. Is that true?
Yes, I would say in a way. So my childhood starts before I was born,
Oh,
uh, because on my mother's side there was some hesitation giving birth to me. Um, but on my dad's side it was completely welcomed and sure. So my dad was sure what he was doing. My mother has some miscarriage twice,
oh,
whether out of choice or not. So I guess that's a feeling I've always had to accept, to being more wanted on one side than the other. Even though my mother never really uh, made anything, like did anything um to make my life harder or um um to make me miss something. Like
yeah,
she's always been, you know, physical and presence in my childhood.
yeah.
um Maybe my dad was a bit more absent, but because he was working, you know, trying to, you know, get an income and all that. But I was really close to both of them. um So I have really good memories from my childhood. That's why I rate it as a 4, because I was just a young kid. I was going out all day playing football with my friends and spending time outdoor. Winter, summer, didn't matter. I was always out. Never played video games. Never missed anything. I was, you know, had a good school. I had good teammates, good classmates. Um, I was very active as a child. So maybe for my parents, it was a bit hard to catch up with me at times with my energy.
Yeah.
So I think so that's why I have good memories from my childhood. I think the baddest memories, it's from my teenagers years, where I started to, you know, understand how certain family dynamics play out. Um, and that's when I've noticed um, hard energies going around in the house in between my parents. So I think most of my traumas, they come from that phase of my life, also from my, let's say, 10 years old up until 18, 19, when my parents divorced eventually. Um, so I carry lots of I closed up. I was really open as a child. I had lots of friends. I was making friends easily. I had love for everybody. And then after a certain age, I started to close up because of what I used to see in the house, I think. So yeah.
And what you saw was what your parents are doing, or what was it?
Yeah, it was arguing a lot. It was gaslighting each other, spending lots of time in silence, you know, revenge.
Oh,
Sometimes, um, sometimes, physical, it wasn't abuse, but, physical violence.
Well, it
Um,
is abuse. If it gets physical, it is abuse.
yeah. So there's probably a part of me still not accepting that, but yeah, you're right. It is lots of, yeah, emotional and physical abuse towards each other, um, and sometimes towards me.
Yeah,
It is, they used to say, especially my dad, um, he used to call it, oh yeah, it's part of the culture, and every family used to do that back in the days. That's how education was back in the days. You get two slaps in your face, and you understand that was the type of education I got,
yeah,
and that he got from his dad or his mother. Um, but that's not an excuse to label it as a cultural thing.
no, no.
So every time we have that conversation, he's slowly starting to understand how that affected me, how that specific education affected me later in life, and these are all things that I'm integrating now, and that I have to heal.
Well, in America, being just American, our abuse by our father couldn't be chalked up as cultural, even though people in our neighborhood turned a blind eye. And he, the day after every episode, would expect us to tell him we love him and it's okay. Nothing happened. And we're just gonna keep on going. Okay, so thank you for sharing that. That's not easy to do.
It's
You
okay.
are courageous. So take us then into uh, early adulthood. Your parents divorced, and you were how old?
Yeah, my parents divorced when I was 19 years old, and I spent the first 2 years living with my mother, just me and her. And then I eventually moved out with my girlfriend back then. We lived together for 1 year, not even. And then it didn't go well. And then from 2022 to 24, I lived by myself. And I was working, I was playing football semi-professionally, so I was earning good money. I was making a good living. And then at 24, that's when I decided to emigrate to Australia from Italy. So I've decided to leave everything behind because some of those family dynamics, they restricted me. So I wanted to be as far away as possible, because I couldn't see it as fixable at that time.
Yeah,
And I've also lost the passion for football, soccer in a way. And I wanted to travel, so I rebelled against myself. So I traveled the world. I went to Australia.
nice.
I circled around the world for the first year and a half. without really knowing what I was doing. I was just like spending money and going countries.
Yeah.
Then eventually in 2019, I settled in Melbourne, and I started to study fitness. And I started to work in the fitness industry for 4 or 5 years. I was a coach, personal trainer. So I used to train people one-on-one, face-to-face. And that's my Australian story. And then
Well, you say that you began, and I am paraphrasing, you began linking your physical appearance to success, so we're happiness. Did I get that right?
yes, in a sense, yes, because
Okay.
I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with training and with trying to look our best. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's healthy.
Yeah.
Uh, but sometimes I used to do it to mask some discomfort I would feel inside. So um to use that physical appearance to create a person, to create a persona and a character that I wasn't. To appear as a tough guy, or to appear as the guy who's got it all together, when in reality nobody has, and I wasn't too. Um, so yeah, I've linked my success to looking in shape. I've always done sports, so like being in shape is never been an issue for me. But at the same times, um, it didn't allow me to discover and to explore myself as much as I needed to. So now I am aware of that line, and I'm quick at realizing when I'm acting from a authentic place, um, or a genuine place that comes from the inside, rather than
Yeah.
my physical appearance.
Yeah. Or ego. Ego.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. It
Especially when it
comes.
comes to, if I can add something, especially when it comes to the dynamics between men and women. So in my, seduction or like romantic relationships, I used to like my physical appearance. It was something that it did help me, but at the same time, it created a false persona. So
Yeah. Totally, really, wasn't about my appearance as much as it was about my job and success.
yeah,
That whole persona, you know, I am successful, therefore I am happy, I'm helping people, I'm being everything everyone wants me to
yeah,
be. And then you go to bed at night and you are hating on yourself.
yeah,
You are miserable.
yeah,
Take us now to that trip to Peru. How old again were you? And just go more in depth about that and the ayahuasca?
Yeah, so going to Peru, I would say it was the catalyst to my transformation. Or as I like to call it, returning home, returning to a place of the purity, like the purity of a child. So
Yeah.
I want to return to that place, and I'm trying my best to embody the gifts and the treasure that was gifted to me when I was a child, and try to retrieving those gifts, like my creativity, my intuition, um, my love, my compassion, my openness, my abundance, all these traits that I forgot. So going to South America and working with ayahuasca, um, stripped me naked in a sense. So it it broke down all the personas, as I've mentioned before, that I created to to appear um, to appear tough in a world that required me to be tough, um, but that at the same time um, I wasn't that person.
Can you hold on 1 second?
Yeah.
I gotta apologize.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Um, can you back up and share how you went from being in Australia, doing what you were doing, to ending up in Peru? I mean, there's a gap there.
Yeah.
That happened.
So how did that happen? Again, I was doing this therapy session that didn't take me anywhere.
Yeah,
Um, and just talking and talking, it would make me feel even more miserable and more broke than I was already.
yeah,
Because it was wasting money and time in something that wasn't working for me.
yeah,
And I always like to go deep into into the matters that uh, attract me, and especially when it comes to knowing myself. I like to go deep, and I wanted to know what's the root of my traumas and how everything happened, and how could I take responsibility for that, and not to make anyone else responsible, because that's something I used to do. All my pain, I used to project it onto other people and make other people responsible. So that was hurting myself at first because I didn't have the strength to be responsible for my own emotional pain, and that
yeah.
would hurt other people because it was too much pressure for them to hold. So it was just this toxic loop, not healthy loop.
Yeah.
So making that decision to go into South America, uh, just that by itself, it was the first step towards taking ownership of my life, pretty much. Not just my traumas, just taking ownership of my past, my present, and my future altogether.
How did you learn about ayahuasca and the resort that you went to get it?
I learned about ayahuasca through the book I was reading. So the book is called The Myth of Normal by Gabor Mate. He's a physician from Canada. He's
Uh,
written a few books already. He talks about childhood traumas, and the culture. So in this book, he was explaining about his experience with ayahuasca, which he was meant to be one of the leading facilitator of the retreat, but he ended up being a participant because he had so much dark energy by dealing with patients all the time that
Oh, yeah,
he wasn't taking care of himself. So the
yeah.
shamans, they told him, you're not able to take care of people at this stage. So they put him in isolation. Um, and he
Oh,
did the whole retreat in isolation. So that story stuck with me. And so yeah, the temple is called the Temple of the Way of Light. And it's in Iquitos in Peru, in the Amazon jungle. They have a website, so they have a application process. So it's a two or three steps application process because they want to make sure that people, they do it with the right intention. They're not just going there to, to have some trips with the plant.
yeah.
So they actually ask you to fill up a application form,
Mm-hmm.
with all your backgrounds, with your intention, whether he had some disease in the past, whether he had worked with the medicine. So it's a really thorough process to go through, and then eventually when they accept you, then I just booked my flight and went to Peru. It's a 12 days retreat. And we did 6 ayahuasca ceremonies. So every second day, pretty much. I went by myself, but it was 25 participants from all over the world with different backgrounds. There were 4 shamans, 2 men and 2 women, just to balance feminine and masculine energy. And there was, I would say, around 4 or 5 facilitators, which were the people to take care of the participants whenever we needed to debrief or talk about our experiences.
Will you share what happens? What is the process of resilient? What happens when you're on it? And then how long after you take it do you come down?
Yeah, so the ceremony will be held at 8 p.m. in the evening. It will usually start 1 hour before with 1 hour of yoga just to prepare the body and to relax. And then when the shaman would arrive, they would go through a half an hour preparation of the medicine. They call it the medicine, which is they hold it in a glass bottle. So as the shaman, they enter the maloka, which is the room where the ceremonies are held.
Okay.
They start to smoke this jungle tobacco, which is called mapacho. It is a really strong tobacco just to purify the energy and invoke the good spirits from the jungle and invoke the
Mhm.
plants wisdom. So we would go around anti-clockwise, 25 of us. So that would take about, I would say 5 minutes each to get the brew, because we had to go there, sit in front of the shaman, and receive this shot glass of ayahuasca, remind ourselves of our intention for the ceremony, drink it, walk back to our position, and it would take around 20 to 30 minutes to start to feel the effect of the medicine.
And when it takes effect, what happens?
Yeah.
What did you experience?
Different things based on my intentions, because I had different intention from each ceremony.
Yeah.
So some people would experience powerful visions. Um, I had a few. Yeah, you go ahead. Do you have a
Yeah. Talk from your intentions. So your intention is that one ceremony were what and what happened.
Yeah. My first ceremony, my intention was to experience my most joyful self. So I I received the brew and I reminded myself to ask the medicine about to show me my most joyful self. And that was one of the best ceremony of the retreat. So that night I didn't have visions, but I had lots of laughter. So I was laughing a lot as a way to purge.
Yeah.
So in a way, I had I felt relieved. My spirit, my soul, from all the time that I suppressed my joy in my childhood or my teenage years,
Yeah.
because perhaps the
Yeah.
situation at home with my parents, perhaps uh, um, growing up in a football professional environment. So from such a young age, everything was professional, and there was little fun, little free time left for a child of that age. So I guess subconsciously I was just repressing my most joyful self. So that's a trait I had lost, but I knew it belonged to me. So
Yeah.
on the very first ceremony, I experienced myself joyfully.
Love that. And will you share one or two more intentions and what came of it then?
Yeah, towards the end of the retreat, especially the second to last and the last ceremony, um, my intention were revolving around my sexuality. So I wanted to experience my healthiest version of my masculine self. Um, that was the second to last one, and the last one was to experience my feminine self as well, to understand more about my feminine nature and female nature in general, so I could integrate both the masculine and the feminine
Wow.
um, in my wholeness. And the medicine gave me what I asked for. Luckily, because it's not for granted. So I guess I was in a good space, um, vibrational space and intentional space to receive the wisdom from ayahuasca.
What was it that you learned about your masculine and feminine self being for you answer? I want to say, even though I am now highly enlightened, I've, done the healing and all of that. I don't think I would ever have thought to ask or to put out the intention that you did right there. That says that you are way more enlightened than most, especially for this being your first major retreat and experience. Incredible. How
Oh, thank you so
did
much.
you know to ask that? And yeah, my listeners and I are all about details. So share what came of that.
Yeah, so the second to last ceremony was specifically around my masculine self because um I used to use that energy sometimes toxically, um, hurting myself and people or acting from impulses rather than responding to them.
Yeah,
Um, so in that ceremony, I understood that my manliness, um, it wasn't directly linked to my physicality like we talked before,
yeah,
or mainly, but it was linked to my emotional capacity to contain uh, to contain the feminine and to accept both energies as one.
yeah.
I've always felt felt feminine in a way. Like I always felt that feminine energy is paramounting the masculine within myself, but because of societal imprinting and conditioning, um, I guess I was expected to use my masculine
Yeah.
more,
Hmm.
to show off, to collect numbers, just for the sake of it, and not because I really wanted to.
Yeah.
Um, so that's one thing I've learned, that masculinity is not about being the alpha male. It's about being your true self and treating everyone, regardless of their sex, as human beings, and treating women from a human perspective. It was really hard for me, and it was something I struggle with, because again, my cultural imprinting.
Yeah.
So there was something I had to break through, and I
Yeah.
can say that I am on my way to break through. So I'm glad I set those intentions and that I experienced that ceremony. Um, but at the same time, within that ceremony, I experienced the power of a healthy masculine. So I I experienced the energy of a cobra snake. So I was a cobra snake in the ceremony. And when the shamans were singing to me, it felt like they were the snake enchanters, and I was a snake. So it was a dance in between me and the shamans, and I was obeying, and I was flowing and I was swaying. So yes, I was obeying, but I was also empowered. So I felt like I could strike at any time like a cobra. I was there swaying. So I
Yeah.
had this feeling of, that's what masculinity is. It's like having that power, but deciding when to strike, and having the control to hold that power and to
Yeah.
only use it when it's the right time, not
Yeah.
because somebody is provoking you, or not because external stimulus, then I have to strike all the time.
Yeah.
So having that experience and
Wow.
feeling it in my body, um, it played out as a metaphor in a way, but to me it was a real experience because I felt it in my body, and it wasn't logical at all. So that was something I've learned about my masculinity.
And you also talked about learning your feminine side. What did that look like?
That was to me is it's all about creativity. So following my creative self, creating from a genuine place of expression and flowing with life, not forcing things. I
Yeah,
feel that the female nature and the feminine energy is mostly about that, about not forcing things and to let things come to you. Um, almost like a almost like a flower attracting the bee. Um,
oh,
that's the way I see the feminine nature in a way. So finding creative ways to attract the right opportunities in life, but not passively. It doesn't mean to be passive. Uh,
right.
it means to it means to express your best self, or at least trying to at all times, and to have the patience to receive the truth from the universe, by keeping an open heart and by keeping um, faith and hope, and by trusting and surrendering to the unknown. So I see feminine this way. So if I combine this with the controlled power of the snake, of the masculine, then
Yeah.
it's a perfect combination to for wholeness, and that's what I'm trying to embody these days.
Wow. I learned a lot right then. I have through our entire conversation, but your description of feminine energy had someone asked me that I I don't think I would have said that. That is so powerful and enlightening. Deep. I love it. Okay, so I have gone over our time and I
It's okay. My
apologize.
pleasure.
Oh my goodness, I am loving this, but to be respectful, tell us your book, where people can buy it, and any words of wisdom to people who might be thinking about embarking on a healing journey or are on it and are blocked What do you say to them?
Okay, so let's start with my book. So my book isn't published yet. So I am finished the second draft of the manuscript now.
Okay,
And I am planning to publish it hopefully within November. So another couple of months, let's say 2, 3 months.
nice.
I've been working on that for quite some time. So
Yeah.
my book is called Awakened by the Forest, which is a memoir of ayahuasca and inner evolution, where I share in more details my ayahuasca experience and how that links with my childhood traumas and how it is reshaping the way I perceive my life and existence in general.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, hopefully November. To the people that are thinking of embarking on a healing journey, whether through ayahuasca or other healing methods, I would like to share a quote, which is one of my favorite quotes, and it goes like this: "The problem is not the problem. The problem is your attitude about the problem."
Wow.
And that's a quote that supported me in a depressive time of my life a few
Yeah.
years ago. And reflecting on that quote gave me new perspective on life and
Wow.
fresh start.
Yeah.
So I like this quote because it's people can interpret it as they wish, and it has a different meaning from everybody. But to those people that are on the edge of um, beginning a healing journey, I would say to start small. Um, that you're in the right place. That you don't have to force anything. Um, Talk with people that you trust. Talk with professionals.
Yeah.
You're not alone. Um, so those are my words of wisdom. And be gentle with yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody has it figured out.
Yeah.
Even those that they seem, always happy and always cheerful, they are going through things themselves.
Yeah.
And we are all relatable as human beings. So it is a journey, not a sprint. Um, so things will flow to you at the right time.
That is perfectly said. I'll just add or kind of build on what you said. The healing journey is hard. It is not for the faint of heart. So, as I know, and Chris Diana knows, and all others who have embarked on it, you need to be with people and a support system to help you get to where you want to be, to try to do it alone is futile. You won't do it. You can't do it. So reach out to those who have been through it and they'll help you. You said that much more eloquently than I thank you
Ah,
again for your time and sharing. amazing. Can't wait to drop this episode. Any final thoughts?
No, I just wanted to thank you so much because you've been such a great host and you're a wonderful
Uh,
person.
no
And thank you for
problem.
being patient when I couldn't understand your question. I really
No,
appreciate that. And
no.
I really liked every single question that you asked me, and I am grateful that I've talked to you because uh, by you asking me a question, even some things that I didn't have the time to ask myself previously, you encouraged me to open up even more. So for that, and to know more about myself as I was speaking. So thank you for being that source of inspiration, and I hold that dearly.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Transcending Trauma, the Spiritual Odyssey. If you're working to overcome trauma and would like to work with me or be a guest on my show, contact me through my website at shariroberts.org. Please hit the follow button to make sure you don't miss any episodes. I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn at Shari Roberts. You can find all the links in the show notes. I'd love to hear from you. I'm Shari Roberts, your host, reminding you that you're never alone. Until next time, sending you love and light.